Welcome to another episode of our Java course. As previously said, we looked at how Java runs behind the scenes, whereby we had the JDK, which is our package, holding the JRE, the Java Runtime Environment, and the JVM, which is our Java virtual machine. But there is something interesting that the JVM adds to the Java language. We call this WORA. Simply, this stands for write once, run all. Write once, run all. Being that the JVM is installed on each and every machine that Java will run on, the code won't change. If you look at it that side, the code won't change. If you're having like an iOS application, and you're having, let me say, you're having Android application. Now, what Java does is that, basing on the JVM, you write the same code. The same code is written once and it run on each and every platform due to the ability that JVM has. So there is another thing that I want to talk about today. Today I'm going to talk about variables. And before I begin with variables, inside the JRE here, we have what we call the lib. This simply stands for library. Library simply stores temporary data into our code, into our program. So let me explain this. I'll explain this further into details in the coming videos. So why do we build softwares? A question. Why do we build softwares? One of the reasons why we build softwares is to solve particular problems. And so, let me say real problems can be divided into two. We have what we call the real world problems and the virtual problems. So, what problems do we find here in the virtual problems? We are all using systems, and name it. We have the safe borders, we have the Amazons, we have each and every system that you are using is solving a particular problem. We have even the games solve particular problems. Name it, boredom. Any software that you use is solving a particular problem. Now, in software, we have what we call data. Simply, you're having here a user. A user gives you his data. You're a program, like you are a user has visited your site. User here, normal user, gives you his data here. A user, after giving his data to you, you do what? You process the data. The user gives you data. You process the data. After processing the data, you give the user back his feedback. Let me say output. His desired output. But what you can do on this data, you can store the data in your database. This database can be a permanent storage. Meaning, if, like, let me give you an example. You go to like Amazon, you create an account, you log in, you start shopping, you shop. You are saving your data on the site. Tomorrow when you come back to the site, we are having, or Amazon is having what? Your data. Meaning, tomorrow you won't need to again create another account. No, we already stored your data in a permanent storage, which is our database. So what if this is a permanent storage? Now, what if I'm given this data and I want to modify the data that I'm given? A user gives you data on your system here, and I want to modify it very fast without saving it to the permanent before saving it to the permanent storage. Now, I can store this to the permanent storage, but what if I want to modify it there and then without storing to the permanent storage? What will I do? Now here we have what I will do is that before saving this data, because you can also modify the permanent storage by deleting, you can delete the data in your database, you can do anything here. But what if I want to do something fast on this data before saving it here? Or what if I want to process my data very fast? Here we have what we call, can first delete this. We have what we call variables. Now variables, even in other languages, they use variables, most of the languages, meaning you want to have a temporary, after the user gives you the data, you come here, process the data, process your data here, process your data. Now before sending it to the permanent storage, your database, I want to do some actions here while processing, meaning I have to first, I want a place where I can store my data, temporary, not permanently, temporary. Now there we introduce concept called variables. Variables. So what are variables? Variables simply are temporary storages inbuilt in our applications, meaning a variable can be like a box. A box. Variable can be like a box. You can store anything here. In real world, when you have like a box, you can store shoes in your box. You can store many things in your box. But in programming, we can store many things. We can store numbers. Besides numbers, we can store letters or text. We can store text. We can store many things in our box, in this box. But in Java, or in here, a moment, before even storing, in this box, let me say I'm storing a number, I'll come and assign some value here. Let me say, let me call this num. I'm assigning some numbers here, and say I'm storing two numbers, 1, and 2. In this box, 1 and 2. I'm naming the box num. Now in this text, in this other box, I'm storing this, I'll call this name. Here I'll put my name. Collins. Collins is inside the box, and I'm assigning this box a name. The name I'm giving this box is called, here, this can be a name called name, meaning this box is called name. This box here is storing numbers. It is called num or numbers, something like that. You create a box, you assign a name to your box. Meaning if you have like date, you create something like date of birth, date of birth. Sorry, create something like first 1998, something like this. You assign this a name. You create a box. You give this a name. This box is storing date of birth. This box is storing date of birth. Something like this. So these are simply variables. In programming, when we can store our data in temporary storages. The temporary storages are the variables, meaning this box, I'm assigning it date of birth as the name to this box. This box, I'm assigning it name, defining this box here. In this box, I'm assigning it num to mean numbers here. Simply that is what we refer as variables, the temporary storage. Now in Java, we have Java is a strongly typed language, meaning before storing this, you have to first tell Java what is inside the box. What is inside the box? Now those are types. Now in this box, I'm having, these are numbers. Not so, numbers. But numbers can be whole numbers and numbers can be decimal numbers. Not so. Now in Java, when we are dealing with whole numbers, we refer this as int. Int means integers. Yeah. A type for whole numbers in Java is called integers. Now what if I'm dealing with decimals here? What if in our box I'm storing decimals here? Now this in Java we refer this as float numbers, meaning in this box if I have something like 10.8, this won't be an integer because, as previously said, an integer is a whole number, meaning it doesn't have the decimal points. Now this will be a float. Numbers in types are also divided, because you might be dealing with an whole number and a decimal number. So we have these two data types. I'll explain data types in the coming videos. So if I'm dealing with plain text here, these are in Java, these are called strings. So the moment you see a string, meaning this is just a plain what? This is a plain text. Plain text can be a name, can be anything which is plain, can be a description. Anything that is plain text can be the data type that we assign it is called a string. Name it anything. This can be date. This can be date, data type date. Meaning in Java, you create a box. Now you assign a box some name. What is the name of this box? Now inside the box you have to name to give some types. Java is a strongly typed language. You have to tell Java in this box that you created what is found inside the box. Is it a number? Is it a string? What is inside the box? Yeah, so simply those are variables. To explain variables a bit more, a variable is a temporary storage that we can create in our program that can store data temporarily, and we can modify it at each and every time that we want. So let us create this in real world, in the programming world, in the actual world. Like here you can see, here I can say here in our print line, remember, let me first compile this and run again. You see, Java, see, compile, hello.java, hello.java, hello.java. It is taking long to compile, Java. Yeah, then I can run this Java. You can see our output, hello world. This, so when you say system.out.print, you want to print out something. So let us implement variables in the programming world. I can say I have num. Num, when you say equals, and I say equals to 5 or 6, and I close. What does this mean? This means I'm creating a box, this box here, and I'm assigning a value inside the box. Meaning, here it is crying because Java is telling you, yes, I'm seeing you have created a box, but I want the type. What is the type of the box, or what is inside the box that you have created? Now, this is an int. Remember what an int stands for? Remember, an int stands for integer. Simply, this means the box inside, the value inside the box is a whole number. It is not a decimal number, it is a whole number. You say int, which is the data type, you say you give your box a name, num. I'm giving this something like num. And when you say equals, what is inside this box here that I'm creating? Inside our box, I'm having 6. Meaning, if I want to access this 6 here that I'm assigning a name here, I can say system dot out dot print. What am I printing? I want to print this, then terminate. These colonies simply mean, I can remove this, no longer running that. The colonies, as I explained in the previous videos, these colonies mean mainly, they simply mean I'm writing this line of code, but I'm stopping. This line of code is stopping from here. Someone may ask, why are you not putting the colonies here? No, this is a method. A method is having curly brackets, meaning it is starting from here and ending here. But in this line, specifically, the lines that we are going to write, we are going to terminate. And if you don't terminating meaning you have to stop. You have to tell Java that I'm stopping from here. If you don't do this, you'll get some issues. So I want to run this and see my variable Java, then run. You can see that I'm getting 6. Inside my box, I'm having a 6, but the box I have assigned it a name or a value called num. So when I'm printing out, I just need to call the name itself, not the value. I just need to call the name that I assigned to to our box. But in Java, remember, you have to give some types here. You have to tell Java inside the box what is inside the box, what type is inside the box. So in this case, integer, in our box we're having an integer value. So if I have like num2, I call this box num2. Inside the box, I'm having like 10. I close. You can see here. I can say system dot out dot print open brackets. Let me say I want to print out num2. I close. I can copy this, print out both numbers. Num1. This is num. Yeah, I'm printing out two numbers. I can compile this. Compile. Then run. You can see I'm having 6 printed out in the first place and 10 printed out in the second place. But you can see these values are concatenated together. What if I want to print the 6 on a new line and the 10 in a new line? So what will I do? Instead of saying system.out.print, I'll say please help me and print in a new line. This in means you print in a new line. The same thing that I will do here. In. Then compile this again. Enter, compiling, then run. You can see that we have successfully printed the 6 all numbers are on their new lines. So these are simply numbers. So what if I want to add these two numbers? I can say system.out.print new line. What am I printing? I want to add num. You can do some addition. You can say add num plus num2, then save, then run this, compile, then run. You can see that we have successfully added these two numbers. But remember, I'm calling just the names. Remember in our explanation, inside you create a box. Let me say 10. You assign a name to this box, meaning if you just want to access the values inside this box, you only have to call the name. But remember, Java is a strongly typed language. You have to assign the types inside, or you have to assign a type to this box. You have to tell Java what data type is inside the box. In this case, we're having integers. We are dealing with both integers. So what if I want to print out the result without putting this in the print statement? So I'll create another variable. Let me say int result is equal to num. Remember this num here plus num2. Then terminate. Then I'll have access to the result. Here I'll print out the result. Simply, what does this mean? This means I'm calling this name here. Remember our variable name. I'm calling this name num here. I want to add these two numbers. I just have to call the names of the boxes, num and num2. So in our second variable, in our third variable that I'm creating, I'm saying this variable is going to store. What is this variable storing? This variable is going to store the addition of these two numbers. Remember, they are both integers, meaning in this box we are calculating, or we are adding two numbers which are both integers, meaning the result will be an integer. So I'll print out the result here. So compile this, compile, then run. You see that I have successfully added the two numbers. I can do anything. I can multiply. See, I can do anything in these two numbers. Compile, run. You see, I have successfully multiplied. I can do each and everything. I can divide these two numbers. Compile. Let me see the result. When you divide 6 out of 10, what do we get? And run. 0. Can put this 10 first, then can put 2. Yeah, you get the actual numbers. I'll explain that in the coming videos while we got 0. So compile, run. Sorry, then run. After compiling, you have to run. Sorry, it's misbehaving. Compile, then run. Remember, have to run. You can see that we have successfully divided these two numbers. Yeah, simply those are variables. Let me say you are dealing with, you want a name. Here we have been dealing with numbers. Let me say I want float. I can say float, a decimal number. I can say this is my num3 is equal to 30.9. I terminate. But remember, this is a float number. But for the float, when you say float, you see here it is crying. You have to come here and say f, meaning meaning this value here is of a data type called float, is a decimal number. So I can say system dot out dot print new line. I want to print out a float number. Sorry, I want to print out the variable number. Float is just a data type. So when I run this, let me come and run this. Compile, then run. You see that I'm successfully getting a decimal number out. If you are dealing with float numbers, you have to insert an F at the end of the numbers. Thank you guys. We meet in the next episode.